Okay, you know the title of this video, I'll get straight into it. So first thing you should look at is the mix of the gecko diet, whether it's too thick or too watery, because they tend to have a preference. For example, mine likes it quite thick, but if I do it too thick it'll dry out overnight and obviously won't eat it. And if it is too watery, then the gecko doesn't seem to be too keen on it. So have a play around with different mixtures and consistencies of your gecko diet and see what your gecko prefers. Next off, you want to look at the container you physically feed the gecko in, the food dish. I use a bottle cap lid. I'll get a picture on the screen now, and I fill it just up to the middle ring, and you put a small amount in. That way I can see if he has actually eaten any or not the day after, because sometimes it'll be licked clean, other times I'll just be a few licks in it. If you overfill it, if you fill it up to the top, you're not really, they eat such a small amount, you're not going to be able to tell whether they've eaten or not, and you could be worrying that your gecko isn't eating when in fact it's eaten plenty. You just can't tell. So try putting less in, just to cover the bottom. That way you'll know if your gecko's eating or not. Another good method, just to get your gecko, to encourage your gecko to eat his diet, is to try hand feeding. This is where you use the back of a spoon or your finger. You just dip it in your gecko diet, so there's a small amount on the end of either your finger or the spoon, and you just rub it onto the nose, the end of the nose, or to the mouth of your gecko, and this will encourage them to lick it off and get a taste for the food. You can do this several times a week. It's advised not to do it every time because they can get lazy and wait for you to hand feed rather than you do it themselves, but it's a good way of getting the gecko to have a little taste of the diet and maybe encourage them to go and get it themselves. Another thing to consider is what brand of crested gecko diet you're actually using, and if the gecko's not eating it, change it. Rapashi, if you're not using Rapashi, then get some Rapashi in. That's the one you should be using. Yeah, just change the diet. Rapashi's flavoured. If it doesn't like a particular flavour, try a different flavour. But yeah, try that. Try changing. If your gecko's not eating the crested gecko diet, change it. Now, anything I say from this point should not be used as a staple food for your gecko, but merely a means to encourage or persuade your gecko to start eating the crested gecko diet you've purchased for it. Another good thing you could try is to mix the gecko diet with some fruit juice, such as, for example, apple juice and stuff like that. Now, this will give the crested gecko diet a slightly different flavour and a slightly stronger scent, and would encourage your gecko to check it out and try some of it. Another thing you can do is make a fruit smoothie and add this to your gecko diet. Again, this will do the same thing, give it a much stronger, maybe more familiar scent and taste and texture. And to do this, you just basically get your fruits, mangoes, papayas, figs, stuff like that, and mash them all up, put them in a blender or a food tenderizer, mash them together and put them in the food dish and let your gecko eat it. Like I said, fruits you can use pretty much anything really, most fruits and berries, except you want to avoid citrus fruits and fruits with a high phosphorus content. But since you'll be doing this for quite a short period of time, it shouldn't really matter that much, but just be wary if you do end up doing this for a long time that some fruits could be bad for them. Another thing you can do, or that people tend to use, is baby food. I don't really want to recommend this because it's made for babies, not for geckos obviously, but it is something different for them to smell and to taste and encourage them to eat. How much live food are you feeding your gecko? If you're feeding it like 4 times a week, or even maybe 3 times a week, it could be just simply too full to eat its gecko diet. So reduce the amount of live food you feed him, or just take note of it, and in case that could be a cause. Okay, finally, what sort of conditions is your gecko living in? For example, if it's too stressed, it could be too warm, too cold, too wet, too dry, in a too large a box, in too small a box. These are all things that could affect the mood and the general well-being of your animal. And maybe, I'm not sure how credible this is, but it's just something I've just thought about now. Something that could potentially impact whether your gecko is eaten or not. So just check the conditions, make sure that it's in the right conditions. Okay, that's everything. I hope this has helped you. If you've got any questions, comment below. If you've got anything to add or anything to take away, again, comment below. Yeah, thanks for watching.